the antidote to this. This is what? Incorrect relative truth. And concerning is like wrong way, such as visualizing, kind of thinking everyone as the pure deities, sentient beings also like kind of the deity, environment as the pure mandala palace, like this kind of, and also so generally in order to realize that this spatial thing. This morning we are talking about the principal body, principal mind, the principal speech. It doesn't matter. It's we are saying maybe you think wrong ways when you say the principal body, principal verb, principal mind. That means it's separately. But in the relatively, body is not mind. Mind is not the body. Verb is not the body. Body is not verb. They are like kind of the distinctly or the respectively. There's different statement. And of course, it's realities. Maybe it's like a conclusion, and entirely depends the mind. Probably it's like these three things are the included in the mind. And but here is like in order to really realize that the principal mind, and that means it's the realities, correct relative, absolute truth. Then it's the beginning. We need to a little bit kind of artificial way to visualize. It's generally we are thinking everything is artificial. For example, I'm thinking this is a computer, this is table. I'm thinking really it's like an artificial way. Why? Because it's table, it's not table. Just this morning, just before we say, it's like, in order to communicate, someone is to limit to these things. We need to call the types. It's different language perspective. You have different names. Type is not this one. Maybe tribal is what it is. If you use a language stick or some special persons express, express it or express it, and to say how you call these things. Yeah, I think it's like sometimes you can call some is very much meaningful names. Some is like according to your desire, just like okay, we can call to like this, and. Like parents, children's coming, and the parents decide the children's what we can to call. Mother says like maybe we can call the Buddhas. Father says, oh yes, that's right. We can call the Buddhas. You call the Buddha, but the children's not yet Buddha. Absolutely Buddha, but in relatively not Buddha. But just you give name this incident. Then later on, his mother's called the Buddha, and the child says, and the fathers call like this. But this is not really Buddha, but this name is like this. And then everything is like kind of the artificially concerning these things. And artificially, wrong way we concerned, and then it's like we are very much confused. All these contaminated appearances, it is like it's what it is really we don't know, but this kind of confusions continuously, and like a kind of the life and lifetimes continue follow up, and we are chasing and look after and running this. Now it's in order to really to wake up from this ignorant, from these confusions. Maybe we can to struggling a little bit, be warriors, and to say all the dirty things to thinking pure things. Why not? And it's like outer environment is the pure land. we can to say the mandala of the palace, who is like a god, deities is living. Inner all the movement of the sentient beings is like, we can to say, they are not kind of the evil, they are not kind of the samsaric sentient beings, and we are like kind of the consider, they are like kind of the deities. And this is kind of the help. By help is the changing process of the habitual tendencies. Maybe it's the visualization of the some deities, these things. Finally, actually, probably it's become the useless. Maybe we don't need. You know, it's like when we cross the Pacific Ocean, we very much rely on the boat captain. And during we are sea, these three things, these are true like boat captains necessary. But we are rich in the other shores. We don't need to carry still in our back is a boat or these ships. We need to live there. We can do country like this. When we realize it is something, and then it's maybe visualizations, thinking this you don't need. That means it's when we already changed, and it's like kind of to develop the expression is the positive, and then certainly it's like there's no chance to appear the negative expressions. And that moment we don't need any visualization of the deities, and everything is positive, its expression is positive. Then it's like why we need to visualize, to recite, to thinking like this kind of stuff. And also maybe it's the benefit I'm just want to say is generally samsara and the nirvana. It's really we need to think, generally speaking, when you say the samsara, oh yeah, ugly, dirty, suffering, uncomfortable. Okay, we can to say. We think it's like, oh, this environmental is a samsara. Inner beings, samsaric sentient beings. And like we constantly like this. Something there's a place, someone's to be there, like this. And also when we talking about nirvana, oh, nirvana, peace. And some is liberated, something happiness. Look, there is the Buddha's feel, Buddha enlightened us. And also it's like Buddhahood means it's some place, someone's to be there like this. This, of course, maybe it's like this, but realities we can very shortly two ways. We can to look in the present our minds. And in the present our minds, very carefully to look at it, the minds, its mind has two situations, positive situation and a negative situation. Neutral situations, not very much. Positive, like for example, negative situations may be sad, may be depressed, maybe it's like kind of different pain, sufferings. For example, the ones is like the Yashodhara, and Buddha's wife asked to him before he became enlightenment, when he listened to the music, and she said, what are you listening, what are you doing? So he says, I'm listening to this music. And then he asked to him shortly, what this music name? She says, this music is like pop music or the country music. It's suffering music. So then he said, what do you mean sufferings? He started thinking about the sufferings. Then she explained, the meaning of the suffering is uncomfortable, pain, and depressed, anxieties. That is the sufferings. Oh, he said, now I'm suffering. I have today this feeling, and like I'm sad, I'm uncomfortable, I'm confused, and this is suffering, I'm suffering. And then it's like, this is feeling of suffering. Then sometimes I have this is the sufferings, situations, feeling. Sometimes it disappeared. Certainly, we are very much, looks like joyful. Maybe it's like a kind of very much inner, outer, everything's very happy, smiling, cheerful, laughing, dancing, singing like this. That moment, there is like kind of the happiness. Then this alternate in our life too. All the times sad, like kind of not happy, happy, not happy, not happy, happy, happy to not. This kind of alternately is going on. Now we can do what is the meaning is. How long, when we start, we say now start is a samsara. When you are not happy, then these durations, maybe it's sad and uncomfortable, pain, anxieties, maybe 1 minute. During these periods, there's no chance that's nirvanas, only the samsaric periods. And maybe it's 1 hour, maybe 1 day, maybe we don't know. And it's this duration, this periods, only anxiety, unhappy, and cry, and so on. That moment in this mind, in the mind, there's no nirvana, no happiness. And already we follow up the negative expressions, and then there's. And these were not fixated, wonderful things, certainly changed. And changed the happy. So, oh, now I'm very happy, I'm very comfortable, and like singing and smiling, cheerful. That moment, there's no samsaric thoughts. And eradicated, we can to say that it's the negative thoughts. It's like kind of only the happiness. This is short, you can to say the nirvana. Maybe your nirvana is like kind of maybe 1 second, maybe 2 seconds, maybe 10 seconds, maybe 1 hour, maybe 2 hours, 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, maybe forever. That forever means it's enlightenment. And that is eradicated means it's like when this during this in the mind preoccupied by the happiness, that moment there is no name of the negative anxieties. But at the moment our contaminated happiness is nirvana, is very short sometimes. It's like, I'm happy, I'm in nirvana, okay, happy, cheerful, but certainly changed. This is like impermanent, it's like very much changeable. Now, this is a kind of according to our habitual tendencies, and also it's like we more developed direction of the negative. Most, we can to say, is like for most ourselves, it's like, I'm not sure the percentage is 70, 80, 90% is all the time is some samsaric thoughts. You know, there's not very much. And now what we need to practice, to visualization is like the deities, recitation, mantras, and to meditate, all these things, extending this nirvana's periods. This is extend more and bigger and bigger, particularly during the meditation. For example, we can say, I'm visualize all the outer environment is the mandala of the palace, deities palace. Inner all the sentient beings is deities. Whatever I can to see, man and woman is Ndaka and Dakinis. My mind is very happy, joyful, and it says there's no like kind of desire attachment. That is like my family. There's like kind of no enemies. Everybody equally is the two deities. Maybe like kind of Guru Rinpoche. Everybody is in Guru Rinpoche. Whoever to be with me in Guru Rinpoche. The mind is become quite, as long as this is to maintain, your nirvana is the periods there is. Maybe we can say this is a relative nirvana, contaminated nirvana, but this is nirvana. And then you extend it, and like this, the tendencies, the expressions, and this influence go into the principal mind. Principal mind is like kind of itself is nothing fixated, but there is this expression is very much influence to changing. In this case, to visualize also is very important. This is like a kind of the how do you say, meditation, best meditations. There's kind of the general, like a kind of the principal focal object visualizations. If you like kind of the Guru Rinpoche or Buddha or something, which is your deity, which would you like? That is the most important. And it's like a kind of different spirituality, okay? If you think it's like a kind of other some different spiritualities, you visualize some God or something is existent and they control to ours. It's not like this. First time our visualization deities means is you need to make peace minds. For example, even you think that you are for love, dear for yourself. You is like, for example, in the Buddhist perspective, all the sentient beings, my parents. Maybe it's generally you love to your parents. If you don't love your parents, you don't need to concern it. Maybe who you like, who you did. For example, parents are thinking the children say, all the sentient beings, my children. And this kind of, to develop your mind is more peace. It's a help to your mind. And then it's the more dualistic concerning the hesitate and disattachment is more make lesser and like this. And also in the Buddhist perspective, we can to say visualization. Okay, my deity is the Guru Rinpoche. Guru Rinpoche Pema Samba, Buddha. What is the enlightened, peace, compassionate, all the time is helping to the others. As much as I'm close to this human, these beings, that much I can receive the benefit. And I don't need to run from that. It's like my best family, my best helper, my best kind of support to me. Then you are coming is joyful. Your mind is become more joyful. And also why we are this object connected. Because those are the Buddhas, those enlightened in the, like all these deities at the beginning, is the same as the human beings. Then they realize their own Buddha nature, and then they like their mind has something in the kind of the energy. You can to say, there is example of the sun. Sun is the shine in the space. Luminosity is coming to the touch the ground. Some in the vegetations receive the benefit. It's inconceivable. Sun hasn't got any ideas in order to grow up these vegetations. Then sun say, I'm sending luminosity. No, sun hasn't got any ideas. Luminosity also specifically to sun. But whoever to get something, these vegetations receive some benefit. How it is connected is inconceivable way. Like this, for example, some compassionate. For example, is in the sanghas. We take refuge in the sangha. Some sanghas has such a compassion, kind, and needs. If we can do more respect, more closer, we receive some benefit. And like this, and we just visualize some is very special. And for example, some visualize sanghas, your teachers, your deities. It's supporting to your minds and to making like a kind of changing process of the habitual tendencies. It is antidote for the incorrective relative. That is, and then is slowly to develop. For example, I want to say only mainly. For example, when you visualize, it's the methods. First, you like roughly to analyze visualize the like Buddha's forms, and then it's like there is a more detail, or maybe you can to say it's like focused meditation or the analytical meditation. Focused meditation maybe is all body of the Buddhas. Or maybe in the some part of the Buddhas. Maybe it's in the Buddha has like a head, arm, and a cloth or some part. Then analytical meditation, specifically, you can to analyze how is Buddha's head, how is Buddha's body, how it is like this deity. Maybe you can to like maybe Buddha, Guru Rinpoche, Buddha medicine, Tara, whatever you like something. This is like enlightened imagine. I'm thinking like this, oh, wonderful, so happy is slowly. Then this negative aspect, negative development, more and decrease. When you deity to think, you cannot to have the attachment, disattachment. When you think in the deity, you cannot to have the aversion, angries. if you have, during the visualizations, if you have something, then it's not better to visualize something. For example, general ordinary people visualize all the time is maybe it's a family, maybe friend, maybe it's like we can say the boys all the times, maybe young boys are constantly the girlfriend, boyfriend. This is the visualizations. And like kind of the concern all the time is like this. But this is like, then is what is the concern like this, then sometimes it's increase the disturbing emotions. Wow, it is. For example, I'm constantly, oh, my girlfriend, maybe she's cheating me, or maybe she has another boyfriend. And then there is kind of the visualization, but same time is you have anger and disattachment and something disturbing emotions like occurring. For example, it's like the same as the girlfriend thinking the boyfriend, or husband is the wife, and children's like families that belong. This is general our visualizations, like a kind of the increased disturbing emotions. And therefore, it's like a specific visualization to concerning the like kind of the deities. Then we cannot to have this disattachment. We cannot to have the attachment, like equally, purely to think. Then this make more mind is to help to think focusly, or this like then is a more analytical meditation is to analyze Buddha's wearing how many clothes and which kind of he's holding, what is the head, and to constantly like this. During these times, your mind is occupied, and then its mind has this kind of. When you are thinking that moment, your mind is not create disattachment. You not create like kind of the hesitations, and this make more clearly. More mind is become stable. Mind is become more calm, more precise, more clearly, and then it's maybe it's like one. First, you need to look at the very nice statue, tonkas. They look at your eyes, like object, and look again and again. Then slowly, you need to take out this picture, and then you have this in this mentally. When you are like open your eyes, in the mentally, this is the place of the mind is very clearly these pictures, these forms, and then it's more concerning that, and this is like kind of the capturing the mind or the holding the mind, and the best meditation beginning like this. Then it's like to slowly. Some is the development. It's like there is three things. It's like kind of developed. I don't know. It's like maybe in Tibet. Can you translate? Yelsen Dzogchen zina. Yelsen Dzogchen. It's quite difficult. Okay, it doesn't matter. This is this when you are like in the explanation of the creation stage. This Yelsen is like a tree place, and like completely how do you say familiarity means it's like one is a place. It's like this faculties of the mental minders. And then is the other one, this object of the what you are visualize this one, and then is this between this is how this deities exist or no existence, like this kind of three things. When you have like in the mind, very very clearly in your mental of these faculties, very clearly, and sometimes it's like kind of this according that sometimes appear in the outside. You know, it's like there's something I don't know, but there's talking about the 5 or the 6 lamps. The 6 lamps, it means it's like inner, like kind of the what you have habitual tendencies. It's through your eye faculties. There's channels automatically shine out. It's like kind of direct appearances, and it's coming. Maybe it looks like yours. You are not a kind of outside something specifically, but inner you are visualized that naturally a shine in the outside, and shine outside sometimes feelings you can to touch, you can to communicate. And this deity is like kind of jumping and like this. At that moment, of course, no need there. Do not have any attachment, any kind of the aversions. And is maybe in this like kind of the appearances, sometimes it looks like a wonderful. You know, there's 5 Buddha families, sometimes moving, sometimes like united, dissolved each other, sometimes become the multiply, like many is coming together and like this. And then me think, very strange, not this kind of occurring, not very good, just naturally to occurring, without any any kind of desire attachment. And then it's like sometimes it really looks like a touch, you can to communicate, feeling is like this. And that moment, then you can do the dissolution stage. Dissolution stage means everything dissolved into your mind, as like to meditate on the empty natures. You to maintain the empty natures, maybe there's nothing kind of the conceptual thoughts. And then to more expressions coming, you can easily positive way. Then it's negative tendencies hasn't got much power, and negative tendencies lesser power, and then it's very easily to struggling through these negative tendencies. Maybe also is here it says, this morning we studied, it's like kind of the muscadeers linger. You put in the container, take out but still there smells. We are like until this reach the last 10th bhumi, there is like something coming back, the habitual tendencies. But to slowly to struggling, then it's more and more mind stable, the happiness is longer extended, more positive movements, longer to. Then one day we can to say the completely Buddhahood. Say that moment there is such a movement, expression of the principal mind. Principal mind, nothing changed, but expressing is the completely the positive things. That is that we call the enlightenment. Do you understand? That is the enlightenment. And that is we need to now, it's like I'm just to say why we need to meditate, this antidote for the incorrect relative things. Visualize as like as beings as deity, and environmental. So environmental is the palace of the deities. And this as much as to cause. Of course you can to think it's very difficult. This is imagination. Everything is imagination. What is the really truth? It's like we are thinking this is bad, this is good. Also imagination and everything. These bad and good things, imaginations, created inside negative habitual tendencies. We damaged ourselves like this. And the beginning is artificial. It's artificial. This visualizes this deities. But this artificial can to help to ours. Like same as in the relative, we can to things the artificially something there is, and there's artificial something. Artificial like these things is occurring. Everything is artificial. What is we can to say is the reality, no artificial is the principal one. Principal one is reality, is artificial. Artificial is realities. There's not different. But we are incorrect, artificially do exaggerated something, incorrect things doing, then is not very good. In this perspective now to visualization is quite very important. This is just mentioned here, the next times there's not very much. And this is, how do you say, this not talking about pure perception or the impure perception. This is according to the sutta teachings, just to say the correct, incorrect. You go to more like kind of the authentic perspective, then they're talking about the pure perception, impure perceptions, and like this. And also it's like when we are concerning is how I come to practice the pure perceptions. This is ridiculous or it is reasonable? It is reasonable. And because it can helpful, it is useful, I'm again to say like this, to changing process of the habitual tendencies. And therefore, antidote, correct relatives. Then is absolute aspects. Absolute aspect. Absolute aspect, this one is essence. Essence. And the absolute is the basic space of the phenomena. Dharma dhatu. Devoid all the conceptual elaborations. And this is, we can say, absolute. And absolute is the essence of each individual, like phenomena. Very important things, essence, nature, we can call it. Absolute is reality, definitive. And like this. Then is a wonderful thing, this morning I say, it's like Shavakas or the Pachika Buddha, yes. Like, it's like the birth and the death is difficult to divide it, It's birth is the death is the birth. Reality is not really truly existent, both. And like kind of when you born, that means also you dead. When you dead, we also already born. And therefore it's like when you subtly, you constantly. Our thing is, I'm born, and then I'm stayed long times, then I'm dead, ugly talking about it. But this is not, it's each moment there is this deviation between the birth and the death. How we can to divide it? Like there is a birth, there is the death, there is the death, there is the birth. And this one is like this kind of relative and the absolute is how we can to divide it. Impossible. Relative truth is the absolute truth. Absolute truth is the relative. The essence of the relative truth is absolute truth. Talking about the essence. Essence, which essence? Relative essence. Talking about this is absolute. Oh yes. And in this perspective, all the relative things is as absolute. Of course, each individual itself is absolute. Then there's, for example, this butter's essence is this napkin? No. Itself has its essence. This essence of the absolute, this one's not like other things. That we need to think like this. Sometimes, these things relative. We need to get rid in the rubbish bin. Then where is I need to realize the essence of the absolute truth. Maybe it's something come from, maybe coming to take out all everything, then maybe it's absolute is coming. That is the very much stupid level. And there's Mahāyāna Rinpoche's one thing, maybe in the future, the how do you say, the lamp of the certainty wisdom. I think maybe, I don't know, the Nyishar. How do you translate? Huh?
The beacon of certainty.
Okay. And the Nyishar Drumi?
Yeah, Drumi is beacon.
It's like a lamp.
Beacon, okay. Okay, this translate. And this insiders, you can to look at this like that. And whatever your appearances appears, you don't need to demolish these things. Just you realize that absolute truth or not, just as it is. And like this kind of the essence, maybe I'm crazy to talk too much, is confused. And the essence, what is the essence? Essence of the relative things. This relative is like the essence of the relative is absolute. This is the like kind of the Dharma dhatu. Dharma dhatu, essence is same. Dharma dhatu means is the natural disposition of the each phenomena. Dharma dhatu means like Dharma's phenomena. Dhatu is the essence. And also is natural space, free from the elaborations, essence, principle ones. And that is the absolute set. Sometimes maybe make in the joke kind of Buddha, he says, I never be in this world. I didn't talk any one word, but some sentient beings say, they saw me, they hear me, they touched to me, said, how? And like this, but maybe all these relatives things are reality, how it is born, how it is disintegrate. Maybe we can to think realities. You know, for example, in these Shavakas, to thinking about the wonderful things. Birth itself is like kind of the death. Death itself is the birth. This between, impossible. It is like how you can to go between. It's like really to go deeply. This is like something is we can to. I have like really wonderful, but how I can to think like this? My thinking is like I'm born a long time. Now I'm an old age. Then one day I'm going to die. But it's not like this. Reality is there's each moment there is the like kind of unification of the birth and death, death and birth. How you can to make the distinctions between there is something possess. Oh, this part is the birth, this part is the death. Impossible if you go too deeply. But maybe you can to analyze. And like this, and also the same as the relative truth, absolute truth. How we can to go between there is. And each individual particle itself has the essence, natures. Then it's how we can do it. Maybe we can take example. Can we go between body and the movement of the body? Can we go or not? The action of the body and the body itself. We become between there, we can or not? Then action is a body or body is action? It's the same or different? Huh? Not same, not different. Then is what is useless, yes? Okay. Then is what you have say something? Say something, okay. Argue. Christian, you have questions, yes.
Yes, I wanted to ask what is the difference between illusion in dreams and illusion in the daily life?
Mm-hmm. Dream and daily life are looks like illusion. When we call the illusion, it's like no existence, yes? Illusion, mirage, like magic illusion, and echoes are like kind of obviously is no existence, yes? And then it's like a dream and a daydreams. It's truly something existent?
No.
Then it's illusory. This is daydream and night dream is daydream, night dream. It looks like illusory. Illusory is example for this. Illusory is easily to understand. For example, someone's make the magic same as these computers. Exactly. Put here, if you know, and one is illusion, make magic, is maybe some certain peer. And this one is like maybe we think it is a truly existence. Then is we can to say, this computer is exactly the illusory computers. And then is how we can to, to make the distinguish. This illusory is how long, short periods, it looks like a functionable, everything, but it's illusory. Someone's make magic. But this one is exactly wild, but also the finally is where it disappeared, we don't know, each moment. And like this daydream, night dreams are we constantly truly existence, but it's like illusory is we think is illusory, not truly existence. This truly, the illusory apply to the day and night dream, like our like appearances. To say is night dream, like illusory. Day dreams also like illusory. There's not truly existence. That is the difference, I think. Yes? Okay, other questions? Yes.
I want to clarify, this morning you said the mind realized the principal mind, the speech realized this principal speech, the body realized the principal speech. I don't understand the speech realized the principal speech. How can speech and body realize anything?
But you listened this part, but you next what I clarified, you didn't listen, yes? I'm saying in the relatively is a body, verb, mind, okay? I said this, the body is not mind, mind is not body. Verb is not body, body is not verb. Verb is not mind, mind is not verb. It looks like different aspects. Respectively, there are existence, these three parts. But the reality is the mind. That I said is you can. Okay. But it's like kind of when you realize it, mind realize it, the mind itself, that means mind realize it, body, speech, mind. Mind is control the mind itself. Mind is become the realize, the Rinpoche. Then body, verbs, there's nothing left. Body, verb is become the same as the mind, yes? Coding the mind. And that means it's like there is the cognitive understanding of the body that belonging to me body, the body's body recognized. Bodies become the dissolved into the nature essence of the body. Verb also is exactly the same, mind is exactly the same. Then this like kind of the three innate kind of the natural dispositions. Yes? Yeah, Asa?
This morning you mentioned that the nature of phenomena and nature of the mind is different. Is it correct to say that the difference is because the nature of the mind has a self-awareness and the nature of phenomena there's no self-awareness?
This you can't say. As I said, is the all mind. The natural disposition is the different the natural disposition of the phenomena, because it's like the all mind's natural disposition is like a absolute truth, like Gaya's wisdoms, enlightened qualities. This one is like cannot to appear. This is relatively to say, okay, relatively say, relatively, absolutely. Maybe there's no existence of any phenomena. In the Mahāyāna Rinpoche, I think in this the sort of the wisdoms, it said single consciousness during the night, single consciousness project the unrestricted phenomena. At that moment, those phenomena has the nature. Those phenomena nature and this projector of this cognitive or the awareness nature is what is different. But when you be this moment, you cannot twist the same, because you have such unrestricted, like an inconceivable phenomena there is, your dream word. And then it's like, but in the morning, you wake up, all these phenomena where? Dissolved. In this case, it's like you're mentally kind of like, how do you say, the permeated, you can to say it's like this. This is quite very good to concern you, okay? Good things. Okay, what?
No, just people coming in.
Okay. And like this? No, again, I want to stop 5 minutes. Doesn't